Hi, I'm Kathy from the Delafield Quilt Company, and I'd like to introduce you to block number 6. This block is a part of a summer-long series called the Slow Summer Stars Quilt Series. If you're interested in sewing along, that would be awesome. On our website, I am putting all the cut requirements for each star along with a link to the video in case you want to watch the instructions again. And that's at delafieldquiltco.com. All right, let's start block number 6. So here are the fabrics that I picked for block number 6. And then of course I got my backing fabric here. So first from fabric A, we just need to cut 1 7¼ inch square. So I'm just going to cut it a little bit bigger and then trim it down so you can get rid of those edges on the layer cake. And then from fabric B, I just need 1 4 3/4 inch square. And then from fabric C, 2 4-inch squares. And then I'm going to subcut these 4-inch squares into 2 triangles each. So a total of 4 triangles then. And then from the background fabric, I need 1 7¼ inch square and 4 3½ inch squares. And the 7¼ inch square, we're going to subcut into 4 triangles. So I'm just going to use the 45-degree guide on my ruler to make sure I got it nice and straight. And I'm going to cut once. I'm going to lift up my ruler nice and carefully, making sure I keep this block together. And I'm going to go again on the other diagonal. And I have my 4 triangles. Alright, so I've got all my pieces cut. Now let me just show you the test block and I can explain how I'm putting this together. So essentially what I did is create 2 flying geese and then I sewed them to the blocks. And then the middle part, I sewed this section first and then I added these pieces on. That way I avoided having to do any fancy Y seams. Alright, so let's start with the flying geese. Usually I like to do 4 at a time, but since I only needed 2, I'm going to just do it kind of an old-fashioned way. So from fabric C, I'm just going to take these triangles and I'm going to fold them in half on the long side here of the triangle and just finger press just to get the middle mark. And then on the short side of this triangle here, from the background fabric, I'm going to put the same crease. Then I'm just going to match those middle points up. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on this piece. And I'm going to repeat that for a second triangle as well. So I'm just going to sew 1 triangle on now, and then I'll press it and sew on the other one. Okay, now I've got the one side sewn on. And it does come out a little bit bigger on this long edge here, but don't worry about that because we'll trim it down to size in a little bit. So now that I have these pressed, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to find the center point and the original center point on this one. And repeat that process on both of these. Okay, so now that I've got my flying geese down, I am just going to trim it down a little bit. You may find that you need to as well. But I need it to be 3½ inches tall by 6½ inches wide, and that's unfinished. So I'm just going to trim that quick. If you're wondering where to trim on a flying geese, I like to use the point here as my guide to make sure that's centered and then trim the sides. Alright, and believe it or not, that is the hardest part of this block, so let's move on. Alright, now I'm just going to subcut fabric A into 4 triangles as well. So I'm just going to use my 45-degree mark on my ruler to help me line that up. And I'll cut it 2 times then. I'm going to get my 4 triangles. Now I can lay this out. All right, so I know I'm going to need a flying geese up here and one down here. Bring back my center one here. This one's going to be on point. Have a triangle there, square here, and each of these corners. Another triangle here, and another triangle here, and then one more triangle here. So I'm going to sew the flying geese, the squares of the flying geese first, and then I'm going to sew these two triangles together on both sides, and then I'm going to sew the middle ones together. And then once I get these ones sewn, then I'm going to sew these together to get that middle row. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sew all this together, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. There we are, almost done with this block. And the key to sewing the top and bottom pieces on is just to make sure that you're lining the point of the square with the point of the flying geese. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what the block looks like when it's all done. And there we have the finished block 6. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and visit us at DelafieldQuiltCo.com. Have a great day.